In my presentation, or rather in our presentation, we would like to speak about the trends which we monitor in the water areas of the Gulf of Finland and Ladoga Lake compared to the beginning of the studies which happened in 2007. We started 13 years ago. And now, year by year, we have more and more data, we have better opportunities to have this work. And I would like to share this result with you. Since 2007 till 2020, in the water territories of Ladoga Lake and the Gulf of Finland, there was a number of winter times with different ice cover for these specific regions. In short, you can see this on the pictures, on the left one and on the right one. On the left is the normal ice cover, and on the right is not normal when we face heat waves and a lot of problems for our marine mammals, for seals particularly. And during these 13 years, only 6 winters were with normal winters with good snow coverage. And now each year we see how marine mammals, particularly seals, try to adapt to the lack of ice and snow. They do not have enough capabilities for implementing their breeding behavior. They are not safe enough to rear their pups. And it's quite normal that gray seals and Baltic seals, 2 subspecies of these seals, when they lose their pups due to thin ice and due to lack of good nests because of predators. During the years with good ice and snow coverage, there were either no problems at all or maybe some single cases. What we can say now is that we can see an increased number of attempts of Baltic gray seal and sometimes even ringed seal to adapt to breed on island territories when there is no snow and there is no ice. In 2008, for example, there was a case when the animals reared their pups on the Somers Island. 8 females were rearing their pups. We got this information from the border security officers. And now, in 2020, we have a capability to have air flights over the territory. We have expanded our aviation survey capabilities. This year, we plan many hours of this aerial survey. And this is better because we have better picture. We have a bigger picture to see what's happening there. The main breeding spot for these seals is Mali Fisker Island and nearby islands, small islands around it. Up to several dozens of pups were sighted last year. But the only thing we can really say is that, unfortunately, gray seals are confused with thin ice. They are far from the islands, they're far from their breed, and they start making their nests on the ice, but then ice breaks because it's too thin, and then they lose their next generation. So for them, it would be much better to go and create their nests on the islands, on the terrestrial sites, but they are confused by this thin ice. These animals are concentrated instead of being spread around the area. Sometimes they're very dense populating some areas and some sites. There is a new growing trend to infectious and parasite diseases for marine mammals. We can see that. And we can support this theory by what we see, what we analyze. We have more and more sick patients for our rehabilitation centers. Before, we didn't meet any parasites, any pathogens from the animals, but recently up to 1/3 of our animals who we have for rehabilitation processes has some kind of pathogen, some kind of diseases. And oftentimes they have mechanical damages, they have wounds caused by birds of prey, but I will talk about it later. That's an example of the situation attacks by birds of prey, which we saw from the helicopter. We are witnessing increased interest from white-tailed eagle and ravens when they attack these seals. The number of attacks is increasing, and according to the wound pattern, we can see that they become better and better at attacking the seals. They become, so to say, professional. Before that, it was very random, no system at all, and they were just some random cases. But now the situation has changed. The strikes are very precise near the eyes areas to the nostril areas, very vulnerable areas. We can see that these birds of prey have accumulated some experience and they know where to strike. On these pictures, you can see, it's pretty small, but we tried to photo one of these attacks by white-tailed eagles. When we were flying over this island, there were about 20 pups of gray whales and about 30 white-tailed eagles, and they basically tried to attack the helicopter. We got scared. It was a swarm, a cloud storm of eagles. We never saw this many before, and even you can see this on the picture, how many eagles we were able to take from this photo. You can see here 2 pups eaten by white-tailed eagles. That is why birds of prey attacks are becoming increasingly more and more prevalent. And they continue to attack the next generation of the seals. We also noticed other cases with premature breeding of ring seal pups. We believe, well, it's a theory, that these premature cases are connected with the situation that maybe or probably females mate sooner. Last year, for example, they lost their next generation, they lost their younglings, and that's why they had mating period sooner than usually. To support my theory, we can say that in the Baltic region, for the first time, we saw the birth of a ringed seal pup which was born from the 1st to the 3rd of February 2020. We were sure that it was a newborn, just a couple of days. Now we find these pups not later than 20th of February or March rather. Previously, we had cases of pups being born on 24th of April in 2007. They were about 2 weeks old. And on this picture, you can see an attempt to rear a pup on stones. This also happened mid-April. Now we do not see these cases, and animals are born earlier. Another thing which we could propose, the negative side of climate change, is the increased energy consumption of marine mammals, the absence of ice, open waters, a lot of sea storm days during the winter time. And as a result, the animals have to fight the storms. They do not have enough time to rest, to restore their energy. And of course, this would negatively impact the females which are preparing for birth, because they waste a lot of energy on fighting the storm. And we got this information from Lighthouse Sentries. They sent us a video where a seal was trying to get on stones during the storm, and she was unable to do so. You could easily see that she was basically emaciated. She could not get from the storm. She lost all the energy, and these situations happen often and often now, more often now. Another point, because of the premature ice offset, some animals try to find a way to rear their pups on the ice, sometimes even very close to the shore and to the coast. We can see the trends for female with their pups locations. We see that they change. For example, in Petrocrepast Bay, before we did not witness any births. Now the situation is different. Unfortunately, this place is very popular among fishers, among tourists. There are a lot of machinery in this region and different watercrafts, and this is very bad for the seals. In the bottom left corner, you can see a Baltic seal pup, which was reared by a female at about 1.5 kilometers from our rehabilitation center and about from 1 kilometer from the coast. And when we passed by this pup, we had to scare away the foxes, which really wanted to get there. In this case, we did not interfere, but we realized that this would be a very bad end for this ringed seal. But usually we try not to interfere. If there is a female nearby, then we do not interfere. Another thing which I wanted to say is that, unfortunately, the animals are confused by ice. They believe that this situation might be safe, but it is not safe. It's very accessible to predators and people. And this is all I wanted to say. We have a question from Vladimir Gromov. Vyacheslav, thank you for your presentation. First question, can white-tailed eagle harm healthy pups who are sufficiently reared by the females? Second question, did you see ringed seals or gray whales on the Tolbuchin Island? Please answer those two questions. Well, presumably we saw a ringed seal at the lighthouse Tolbuchin. And the first question regarding the white-tailed eagles. And answer, yes, of course, they can harm pups. I have already mentioned several cases that there are wounded animals which we have in our rehabilitation centers. We see the wounds made during the birds of prey strikes. And if we go back to the picture with eagles, maybe some of these animals died of natural causes by diseases, or maybe they died because of eagles' attacks. Thank you.